and welcome to the new Rook's Entertainment Roundup. I'm Bob Rook. As many of you know, I covered the arts and entertainment scene in and around Lincoln on local television for over 20 years. After what I thought was going to be a permanent hiatus, we've brought the show back at the request of several arts leaders and venues to let you know about the exciting things going on in and around our community. The program will have a bit of a different format. First, this show will allow me a longer time to talk to our guests. Sometimes I will have one featured guest, and maybe at other times there'll be two. We'll come to you from our new studio here and film our guests remotely, and from time to time, we'll come to you from location. We'll have local and national guests, and then, of course, the roundup of events sent to us that we want to pass along to you. With the help of my producer, we hope to make this an entertaining and informative program for you. I consider it a bit of a podcast, but with video. Now, all we need from you is to watch, and please share the segment as often as you can, and like us on Facebook, and subscribe on our YouTube channel, and consider attending the events that we share with you. Lastly, I'm sure you're thinking, wow, great timing for a new program right in the middle of an epidemic. Well, to be honest, it is good timing because things will be happening that we want you to know about. And we all need some variety right now. And it'll be my pleasure to get as many of you as possible to those events and do so safely and wisely. Which brings me to our first guest, Chuck O'Connor. Now, Chuck is the Dean of the Hickson Lead College of Fine and Performing Arts at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. He is also a member of the Independent COVID-19 Arts and Entertainment Task Force, a group that has been meeting since May to discuss all areas of arts and entertainment in conjunction with COVID-19. Chuck, thanks for being the first guest on the new Roundup.
It's good to be here, Bob. Thanks.
I'm glad that you're here and we appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about this group.
Well, Bob, I think we'd all agree that the arts are what makes our community so vibrant. It attracts a lot of people to live here in our city and people to visit. And it's vital to both our cultural and economic health. Not only do the arts hire a lot of people, but when people go out and see a show, they do a lot of other things as well. They go to restaurants and bars and put gas in the car and so on. So, of course, many of our entertainment venues and theaters have been dark for the last few months, but knock on wood, if we continue to be careful, of course, it won't be too soon before we'll be able to open again. And so some of us got together to discuss really how COVID-19 would affect our theater venues and our programming once we do return and once we do open up, and to understand a little bit more about the virus and to learn about the safest ways we can keep our audiences and our artists safe.
We should mention that not only are there theater people on the Arts and Entertainment Task Force, but there's also medical professionals and other folks. You want to talk a little bit about that and who serves on the task force?
Yeah, there's a wide range of people with different varying degrees of experience and knowledge on the task force. Obviously, we have performance arts leaders and executives. We have educators. We have folks from UNL, where I work. We have musicians and performers. We have a former mayor, as well as a former director of urban development here in Lincoln, representatives from Downtown Lincoln Association. And then, of course, we have medical professionals and mental health professionals on the task force who are really giving us really good advice.
I think, and in full disclosure, I'm also a member of the task force, and it's been very informative. It's been very beneficial. I also want to mention that Kylie, who is from Elevation Health, has been a really important member of the task force because so much of entertainment and the arts have to do with mental health and preventing things like depression and anxiety, something that a lot of people are suffering from now and will be as the virus continues and we find different ways to deal with it. And that's something that I thought was really neat to have her included on the task force.
Absolutely.
Uh, Tell us what has helped you about being on the task force. I mean, you hold a lot of hats there at the university. What's helped you?
Well, of course, UNL presents hundreds of performances and screenings every year to Lincoln. Anything from our School of Music to our opera program, our dance program, the Nebraska Repertory Theater, the Lead Center, of course, our new Johnny Carson Center for Emerging Media Arts, and the Ross Media Arts Center. So we have a lot of stuff going on. And not only through this task force are we able to learn from each other about how to keep our performers and our audiences safe, but we're developing policies about social distancing and other protective measures that our audiences can expect when they enter any of our venues. I think we find that having consistent policies across all of our arts facilities and venues are important to our patrons. And we're also coming up with many, many really creative ideas. For instance, our opera will be performing a delightful production of The Cunning Vixen by Janicek. And it will be performed completely outdoors in front of Kimball Recital Hall so that people can respect a safe social distance from each other. It's going to run over the weekend of October 3rd and 4th, so it will be just a delightful way for people to spend an evening outside during a nice autumn evening listening to opera. Our Nebraska Repertory Theater is really re-gauging itself to do a lot of smaller, more intimate performances with smaller audiences and doing a lot of work online. So there's a lot of interesting things we're learning from each other, a lot of creative ideas of how to continue to present the performing arts, not only now, but when we come back.
I think one thing that we want to make sure that people know that I think we have been able to all be, it's been a really good consensus of a group and things that we have thought that certain recommendations that we should put out there, not only about social distancing and like having e-tickets as compared to handing people tickets, different things like that. But I think the nice thing about this is that we've been doing a lot of separating fact from fiction, from a lot of the misinformation that's out there. We've had the right people at the table from the health department and the mayor's representatives, which we've really appreciated, and the governor as well. Can you talk a little bit about, if people go out and they go to a show, you mentioned what the university is going to do, and we're going to talk more about some of the great opportunities that are going to be coming up this summer, because really theaters have had to think outside the box, and a lot of these places have been closed for a long time. It's really important that people go out and support these places because they survive on the revenue of shows, and they haven't been able to do that. And so we have everything from Maury Enders at the Lincoln Community Playhouse is going to be doing parking lot plays, or plays in the parking lot, and TADA is going to do TADAstock, an outdoor show in conjunction with the mill at Telegraph. Talk a little bit about some of that, Chuck, that you've seen and what we're kind of recommending people do when they go out.
Well, of course, we do want people to come back into our theaters. I think people want to come back to our theaters. And so many of the ideas that you mentioned, I think we're all looking forward to. But, in addition to the aforementioned social distancing and basic common sense measures of staying away from each other a little bit and wearing masks and washing your hands and all the things we've already heard, I think one of the interesting things that we're doing, as you mentioned, we're suggesting and really encouraging people to buy their tickets online and use e-tickets so that they don't have to physically handle tickets with strangers. Many of our theaters are going to be personally assigning seating so that you'll know where you'll sit. God forbid somebody gets sick, we'll be able to know who else was in the audience that night, where they were sitting, so that we can tell other people so that they can get checked up. Some of us are going to be taking temperatures of our patrons and certainly of our actors during rehearsals to try to make sure that they're feeling well and can be around others. At UNL, I know that we're providing sanitizing stations so that people can put hand sanitizer on their hands. Just generally speaking, doing the responsible, proactive, safe thing. that I think most of us know about by now, and letting patrons know that it's okay to come out and see a show. I mean, if we don't make it back, we're going to lose some of these wonderful theaters, and we want Lincoln to continue to be a vibrant arts center for people well into the future. So again, I think we're in a temporary situation right now, but when we emerge from this, we want our arts organizations to be intact, and just for the sake of our community as well.
As great as singing on social media is and doing everything that people have been doing on play readings and everything, there's really nothing like seeing theater live. That's what it was meant to be. And I think we've all kind of been missing that fourth wall. And so we want to really encourage people to come out. And I think the groups that are involved with the task force and the majority of the theaters are all wanting to and will be responsible, not only for our patrons, but also for the performers.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, at UNL and certainly in the Hickson League College of Fine and Performing Arts, where I serve as dean, we're being careful, not only so that our arts patrons can stay safe, but we're going to have 25,000 students coming on campus pretty soon. So, we know we can do this. We know we can do it safely, but we're going to have to be smart about it. And of course, we're fortunate that through the task force, we're able to consult with a lot of city and county health officials who are giving us advice. But at the university, we're also able to consult with our own medical school, our own University of Nebraska Medical Center. So, like everything else we do on campus, we strive to be a model and a good member of our community for others to follow. And, we will open up. We will open up our campus. We will open up our performing arts venues, but we're going to do it in the right way. And we're going to do it with precautions in place so that people can feel safe coming to the theater. They need to know that they'll be safe coming to the theater. And that's the message we want to get out.
If anybody has any questions for the task force, or and we've all had questions, and I think that's been the great thing about the task force. And a lot of people think that theaters and whatnot compete with one another, when in reality we're all on the same page, and that's what's been refreshing and something I've known for producing in town for almost 30 years, is that we all want to help each other. We will sit down, we will talk, we will want to make sure that everybody's successful, because if one place closes, another place will close. And then none of us have seen anything like COVID-19 before. It was new to all of us. And that's where, for me personally, it's been very helpful, a little bit therapeutic too, to know that other people were facing this. And I think the health department's been very good. They want to see us open. Theaters are small businesses, a lot of them, and that's something that a lot of people forget. They do make a social as well as a economic impact on our city. So if we start to lose them, as well as any other venues that count on musicians, from the coffee shops to places like the Zoo Bar, these are all places that we've been looking at to make sure that these are successful in the future. And so if anybody wants to contact the task force, you have that handy, Chuck?
Well, yeah, if you want to contact us, you can shoot us an email at ANE Task Force. That's Arts and Entertainment Task Force, ANE Task Force at gmail.com. And I encourage people to stay in touch and stay engaged with the arts until we're back in full force, live and for all of us to see.
And this does take time. This isn't easy to do. There's a lot of red tape that to go through, and things that we need to do this and do it responsibly. And in the meantime, those theaters don't quit paying their bills. They need whatever people could donate. I'm sure they'd appreciate them from theaters everywhere.
There's a lot going on or beginning to happen. So please don't forget that this is a time to support your arts organizations, especially if you want them to be around and be robust when we all get back.
Absolutely. Not only the arts, but any entertainment venue that's out there. The musicians are ready to play, but like Chuck said, we need to do it in a responsible manner. It's just not go for broke and we all start doing the mosh pit tomorrow. That's not going to happen. So Chuck, thanks so much for being part of the task force and being the first guest on the new roundup. I appreciate you being on.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for your great work as well.
Thank you very much, Chuck. That's awful nice of you. And thank you so much for being on. We'll be right back with the roundup of events right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. There are some events we wanted to make sure to let you know about during this time, so let's take a look. Here's the roundup. Let's get things started off with the roundup in Manly, Nebraska, where the Loft Community Theater will present Jimmy Weber performing an outdoor live musical event Friday night, July 3rd at 7:30 p.m. You can give their box office a phone call at 402-234-2553. Jimmy is a military veteran who presents a memorable evening of story and song. Taking place at the Zoo Bar Tuesday, July 14th and Wednesday, July 15th is Mike Zito. Zito is on his social distancing tour. His new record is called Quarantine Blues. To find out more about that and to get your tickets, go to zoobar.com. TADAstock, an outdoor musical celebration, will take place at the Mill at Telegraph. That's July 18th at 6 o'clock p.m. This is a gathering of wonderful local talent who you've seen on the Tada Theater and other stages around town, all coming together for a wonderful outdoor celebration on the stage at the Mill at Telegraph. The Mill will be serving food, drinks, and coffee, and if you're in the mood for waffles, well, you're in luck. There's not only one, but two of the Wafflemen reuniting for this special event. Enjoy a wide range of music by getting your tickets at tadaproductions.info. The Lead Center continues Music on the Move. This is a mobile summer concert series bringing the music to you on a bicycle-powered stage. It's the closest thing your kids are going to hear that reminds you of when the ice cream man was in your neighborhood. So look for that Saturday nights from 6:30 until 8:30 p.m. And the Bottle Tops will be performing as part of that series on July 11th. You can log onto the website right there on the screen for more information. Enjoy some melodramas, plays, and more as the Lincoln Community Playhouse presents Parking Lot Plays. Those take place July and August. You just have to drive up, tune your car radio to an FM dial, and enjoy the live entertainment, just like the good old drive-in movies. Just don't try to sneak in extra people in your trunk. Remember doing that? Yeah, right. You can get more information on their website. The Lincoln Municipal Band will give its annual summer concerts on Sunday evenings throughout the month of August. The concerts will be held from 7 o'clock until 8 p.m. as they spread out on the grass by the Antelope Park bandshell. They will be abiding by social distancing guidelines, so please see their website for details. But this is great news, great music, and a great solution. Our friend John Chapo and his pals at the Lincoln Children's Zoo wanted us to remind you to visit the zoo. Lots of new exhibits and more of the zoo is reopening, including the Animal Kingdom and some pony rides, and the train is back. You can find out more about the zoo at lincolnzoo.org. Taking place at Union Plaza will be Hub and Soul. This is a free community event designed for people of all ages and backgrounds to celebrate local musicians, local food, and Lincoln's parks. This series will be held 6 consecutive Thursdays in August through September from 5 o'clock until 8 o'clock p.m. And we don't want to forget about some of the great galleries and museums out there that are beginning to open up. These are just a few of them on your screen. Take a moment and Google the wide variety of them and visit one near you. And that's the roundup for now. Well, that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for tuning in, and a special thank you to our guest, Chuck O'Connor. Just a reminder to please like our page on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you'd like to send in your events, please do so to rooksroundup@gmail.com at least 2 weeks in advance, and we'll try our best to get them on the air. Until next time, everyone, have an entertaining weekend.